just talked about the passers. Now I'm going to talk about the pass catchers. So, I'm going to give some love to some tight ends. There have been some tight ends who played really well this season. Of course, unfortunately, we know that Pat Freiermuth is going to have to shut it down for the rest of the year. And we know that Kyle Pitts had a fairly serious concussion a few years, but weeks back. But now there are some guys emerging, and I hope people continue to pay attention to the position. So Oregon has a kid who I just really noticed very recently, and he has a great tight end name, Hunter Moyer, right? What could be more tight end sounding than Hunter Moyer? 5 catches, 70 yards, and a touchdown. Good route runner, also showed he can block a little bit. And Cole Turner, a kid at Nevada that I've mentioned at least one other week, I think he has real potential as well. 8 catches, 50 yards, and a touchdown. And he shows you some run after catch. So, tight ends, now moving to wide receivers. I have to start with Tyrese Freifogel. Once again, because he's making me, he's setting records. So, he's the first Indiana receiver and ever, in the history of ever, to have back-to-back 200-yard receiving games. 7 catches, 218 yards, 3 touchdowns. And Shaun Wade, and anybody, frankly, who plays for Ohio State is very glad they will hopefully not have to face him again anytime soon. But Tyrese Freifogel is a really, really good wide receiver. And I have to mention, since we're sticking with that game form, Garrett Wilson, who really showed up with 7 catches, 169 yards. He had a couple of touchdowns, and he's not a super athlete, but he's athletic enough. Like he'll sometimes throw you off because he doesn't look like he's going that fast. So sometimes people take the wrong angle, but he's got something to him as well. Here's a kid I mentioned once previously, and even though things are going poorly at Penn State, Jahan Dodson, he's a terrific return guy, but also he's a really good wide receiver. He had 139 catches on 139 yards, on 8 catches and a touchdown. And if they ever get the quarterback position figured out, that kid's going to put up even crazier numbers. Speaking of crazy numbers, Damonte Smith now has passed, well, everyone. He has broken the record of Chris Doering and his and of course fellow Crimson Tide member Amari Cooper, and he now has 32 career touchdown receptions. He had 9 catches, 144 yards, and 2 touchdowns, and he's once again he's not a freak athlete, but I'm reminded of guys like Antonio Brown, who the testing numbers will fool you a little bit. He has a little more quickness and a little more strength than I think will show up in his testing number. He's probably going to run in the mid 4.5s, but that's enough. And, he's probably about a 34, 35-inch vertical guy, and he's probably going to run a, 4.09 3-cone. I mean, solid numbers in some areas and better than average in others, but nothing that blows your mind, and he's going to be a really great player anyway. Speaking of great players, and this is a guy that is not getting enough attention. I've mentioned him before. I'm going to keep mentioning him as Romeo Doubs at Nevada. I really, 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 really like him. I can't hide it. But had a couple of touchdowns, 9 catches, 144 yards. No, sorry, 133 yards. And only 5. He only had 5 catches. Only needed 5 for 133 yards and a touchdown. And he's probably a guy, once again, high 4.4s to low 4.5s, but he runs away from people. He has a great ability to change speed, and he can also has great body control. I like him a lot. Pitt has a kid named DJ Turner, who I've just begun paying attention to. I'm going to watch for him in the future. 15 catches, 184 yards, and a touchdown. And once again, just has an innate ability to find the soft spots and knows when to throttle it down. Some guys play too fast. He has a good sense of when not to always go full out. Rolling on, so many good wide receivers. Rondo Moore, yay! Rondo Moore, who had opted back in, and then was dealing with some nagging injuries. He's been compared to, I think I compared him to a combination. I think instead of Tyreek Hill and Darren Sproles had a baby, he's such a special athlete. And 15 catches, 136 yards, a touchdown. You want to line him up in the backfield too much, but you should line him up in the backfield some. You should let him, take reverses. You should let him return a few kicks, a few punts every now and again. You just have to find a way to get him the ball in space because, I don't know, there's not even human beings at any level of football that are better in space than him. And he has, like I said, despite being a smaller guy, shocking strength. He's a 500-plus pound squat guy, and he's 177 pounds. It's just nuts. Moving on. Mr. Tatum Bell. Not Tatum. Autumn. Sorry. Autumn Bell. Tatum Bell was a miss years ago for being in the draft. I really liked him coming out of Oklahoma State. Sorry, running back. Tatum Bell. He was a flyer. But I actually mean Autumn Bell. The Autumn Bell is a receiver. I really like that guy too. Shifty. Once again, probably won't blow your mind with testing numbers, but he had 129 yards receiving. I think, even though obviously Rashad Bateman is the guy that is going to draw the most attention, I think Mr. Autumn Bell is going to find his way into somebody's NFL roster someday as well. Moving on. Oregon has a kid I really, really beginning to like. I'm just only seen him twice. Obviously Pac-12 got started late, but if he continues to develop, he could be something. And he's got that frame. He's sort of like a poor man's Drake London. I don't really compare people to guys who are just 20 years old, but he's sort of like Oregon's version of Drake London, might be a better way to put it. He's 6'4" and change, about 211, 212 pounds, somewhere in that range. He had 6 catches for 123 yards, a touchdown, good speed for his size, long arms, big hands, can jump, can catch the ball, that great radius that you talk about. So he's a possession receiver with a little more go than you might expect. And Ramad, please make me through this. Bowman, something like that. I'll work on that at Northwestern. 4 receptions, 95 yards. He's once again a guy that can run, and he doesn't look like he can run. He's probably going to run in the mid to low 4.5s, which with his frame is actually pretty decent speed. He had a touchdown, showed body control once again. He showed he can also make contested receptions. Strong hands. I like him. He's Northwestern's best receiver. And I have to mention Kadarius Toney. By law, we must mention Kadarius Toney. In fact, both Grimes and Toney have really, really shown up since Kyle Pitts got hurt. So, 107 yards, a touchdown. Once again, terrific after. Rondale Moore, right? I guess it's the two of them in terms of receivers after the catch in college football. It's between those two, and it's a tough decision. Those are my receivers. And once again, I could have kept going. There's so many good receivers. This is going to be a really deep and interesting receiver class. But those are this week's superlative pass catchers.